You wake up, brush your teeth, and feel hungry. So you order some DoorDash. Your phone rings.
Yo, your food's here.
You grab your order, ready to dig in, when suddenly a notification pops up. You just got $2,000. I know, this sounds surreal, maybe even like a mistake, but for David, this was just another day. Except he had a few extra steps, ones that would eventually lead to his own death. But who exactly was David Smith? How did he turn something as simple as DoorDashing into his personal money printer? And most importantly, how did it all lead to his death? In this video, I'll answer all that and more. David was a 22-year-old from Stamford, Connecticut, and to most, he was just a normal guy trying to make a living. But behind the scenes, he was running a sophisticated scam that would allow him to steal over $1 million from DoorDash drivers without them even realizing it. He must have been a skilled hacker or a career criminal, right? Wrong. He was just smart enough to exploit one simple flaw: trust. It all started by creating a perfect copy of DoorDash's official login page, but with some extra code that would make it so that whenever anybody entered in their credentials in the page, all of the information would go into David's computer. This technique is called phishing, but this was only the easy part because David would now need the DoorDash drivers to enter in their credentials in the fake login page that he created. And here's where David got a really good idea. He would place fake orders through the DoorDash app and then contact delivery drivers while pretending to be DoorDash support. He would tell them various things like, your account has been flagged for suspicious activity, update your info now to avoid deactivation. Then he would send them the fake login link where he would get their information, but to stall the victims from realizing that they were being scammed, David made the login page to reject their first attempt, stealing their credentials in the process. Then it would drive the victim to the real DoorDash site, making them think that it was just a typo. But before the drivers had time to reset their information, he would simply just log into the account, change the payout information to his own, and use DoorDash's instant cash out option to drain all of their money. It was smooth, quick, and at first, it was completely undetectable. But the thing about stealing millions, someone always notices. For months, David ran his operation undetected, a carefully orchestrated scam that was made to steal money from hardworking drivers, all while he remained in the shadows. With each driver scammed, his confidence grew, believing that he was untouchable. 700 drivers scammed and over $1 million stolen. But in January of 2023, the police department responded to a random noise complaint. It seemed routine, just another call on a normal night. Nothing out of the ordinary. But when they arrived at the house, they found something shocking. Stacks of cash piled inside duffel bags and money cases, more than $700,000 in cash, dozens of payment cards, and loads of fake IDs. It wasn't just ordinary fraud, it was an entire operation built to exploit the system. This was David's house, and in an instant, his so-called untouchable empire came crashing down. June 2023, David Smith was arrested and charged with first-degree larceny, identity theft, and multiple counts of fraud. The evidence was overwhelming: surveillance footage, transaction records, and a digital trail that linked him directly to the crimes that he committed. But David was lucky, and he was offered a plea to plead guilty and serve 5 years in prison. But despite the evidence, he had a strategy to keep himself out of jail. He lawyered up, determined to fight the case. To him, this wasn't over. He refused to take a plea deal. This was a bold move, one that could either set him free or bury him even deeper. But what happened next shocked everyone. January 6, 2025, David thought that he had it all figured out. He was set to appear in court in 5 days, until
David Smith was supposed to appear in Sanford Superior Court Wednesday morning to accept or reject a plea offer in his case. Instead, the state's attorney's office learned Smith was killed 2 days ago. New Rochelle police found David Smith shot several times in the chest Monday morning at the Heritage Homes complex. Police said a personal dispute led to the 22-year-old's death. Smith was living in Mount Vernon. He moved there after Stanford police arrested him in June 2023 in what one investigator called the most massive scheme he's seen.
Smith was shot and killed. With Smith dead, the case was dismissed, but what happened to all of the money that he stole? And will the poor victims get their money back? Police seized the stolen funds, and while there were talks of them returning to the victims, it remains unclear if the drivers will ever see a dime. But the strangest part to me is that his arrest and death have nothing to do with the crime that he committed. For David Smith, what started as an easy scam ended in tragedy.